took a poll in y'all. This twist out is acting all the way up. But I took a poll. Let me see if I can get some better light. Mm, that'll do. So I took a poll in my group. I took a poll in both. Well, no, I took a poll in one of my groups, my iRush to Success group, and I took a poll in a couple of other groups that I was in. And I wanted to know what your biggest fear in business was. What is the thing that you fear the most in your business? And literally everybody said, except two people. One person said it, but they added to it, so it wasn't necessarily the same thing. But every single person that I asked this question to said failure. Every single person that I asked the question of what are you most afraid of in your business said failure. And so I wanted to come and talk about this really quick. Um, I generally don't go live on my page. I go live in my group unless I'm doing some kind of shenanigans. So, but I'm posting this on my page so that I can share it to the groups that I posted, that I took the poll in. Because I want you guys to understand something. And my question on the live says, are you afraid of dark? Right? And the reason I posted that question is I wanted to tell you a story first, right? So when I was 17, I got with this guy against everybody else's wishes. Everybody knew this guy. I didn't really know this guy. Um, I just met him, and he seemed like a really good guy. He ultimately came on to be my first son's father. Um, so we had a 4-year relationship, and the thing about me that um, most people don't know unless they're following my blog. Stop. Is I'm scared of the dark. Like the pitch black dark, it's it scares the life out of me. Um, so this guy knew that. And so one day he was like, "Oh, let's take a ride." We rode on a motorcycle. I rode on the back, he drove. We went probably 20 minutes out. And then we went to this place. It was kind of like this desolate place, and there was a lot of trees around, and it was like almost like a park, but there were no swings or anything. But um there were no lights, but we could see because the motorcycle light was shining. It was very bright. But then he was like, "All right, get off so I can turn around." And I was like, "All right." So I got off the bike because with a motorcycle you gotta back up, right? And so he asked me to get off so he can turn around and we could leave. So he backed up and he turned off the lights. Like he turned off the motorcycle light, and it was pitch black dark. Like it was extremely dark. Like scared for my life dark. It was so freaking dark. I could not see my hands in front of me. And I started to hyperventilate and I was super scared. I was just and just backing up for a second, he had revved the motorcycle as if he left. And of course, I didn't know this until he turned the lights back on. But he left the lights off, and he left them off for probably a minute, and I froze. I panicked. I froze right there, and I didn't know what to do. Like my heart was beating so fast. I was hyperventilating. Tears were running down my face. I wasn't crying like, but tears were running down my face. I had no idea what to do. And so Maya's on the floor. So he turned the light on, and this calm just kind of came over me. And I was so shocked that he did something like that, um, that I wasn't even angry. I was just grateful that the lights came on, right? Um, but when it was pitch black, I had a moment to just breathe. I had to contain myself. I didn't I My heart was beating fast, but I didn't necessarily have like an anxiety attack, right? But I was like, okay, breathe everything's okay. And I started talking to myself like, everything's okay. There's nothing out here. Nothing's going to get you. There's no such thing as a boogeyman, right? I think I was 18 at the time. And I was a very young 18, like mentally young 18. And so I was so scared. I didn't know what to do. But in the dark, I had to calm myself because overreacting would not change things. Crying would not change things. I just had to think and calm myself down. And so I tell you that story because the question that I posed in the groups was, what are you most afraid of in your business? And everybody said failure. But I want to talk to you for a minute about what failure really is, right? Failure is, it doesn't exist. Like, I really want you to pose the question and ask yourself, how many times have I failed myself? How many times have you failed yourself? How many times did you really just fail yourself? And I almost can assure you that you'll say never. Sure, you tried things and it didn't work out and you moved on to something else, or you fixed it and made it better, or whatever that looks like, but you've never failed yourself to your detriment, right? So, what's so scary about failure? And I'm going to ask you some questions that I want you to pose and ask yourself. What's so scary about failure? So, I wrote down some things that I was thinking about. Number one is why you should embrace failure. Why you should embrace failure, especially in your business. So, number one, it lets you know whether you need to stay on that path or adjust or pivot, people like to say. When you try new things that you're afraid of trying and you try them anyway, it lets you know, is this the path that I need to stay on? If you fail, if you don't fail, then you win. So, what's the hang up? The second thing is you find strength and lessons in your failure that will better your business and yourself, right? So, whatever you learn from that failure, then you know to apply it where it needs to be applied so that you can grow yourself and you can grow your business. These are things that you can apply to your life and to your business, right? And then the third thing is overcoming failures. Overcoming your failures gives you a story for relatability and inspiration. And that's one of the biggest things that I talk about when you're building your business. You want to be relatable. But how can you be relatable if you don't have life experience? You have to have life experience in order to be able to relate to your target audience, right? Because the thing that you're selling or the thing that you're servicing is because it resonates with you, and it resonates with you in your heart and in your soul. And so you want to share it with people that are like you in a sense. And so your target audience needs to hear these stories. So it allows you to relate to them. It makes your story relatable, and therefore it makes your product relatable or your service relatable. So they need to understand you so they know that, hey, she's one of me. She's just like me. She been through what I've been through. She tried what I tried. She failed at what I failed at. Right? So I want you guys to start asking yourself, what is so scary about failure? And then another thing I put is what you learn from failure grows you, right? You grow from it. Everything that you fail, you've learned a lesson, you apply it, and you continue to go on and grow. And then I want you to really ask yourself, what about failure scares you? And so I'm going to jump down for a second because I want to tell you something. Failure is not losing money. Failure is not losing clients. Failure is not losing business. That's not failure. That's business. Do you want to know what failure is? Failure is when you don't want to look stupid or feel inadequate. And that has to do with your emotions. And so I say all the time about taking your emotions out of business. You can't, you, when you feel inadequate, that's something that you're feeling on yourself. And people don't look at you as if, oh, she didn't sell that many of these lip glosses. She must be inadequate. She didn't sell a lot of her planners. She must be stupid. Nobody thinks these things. We think these things of ourselves. And so our failure is how we see ourselves. And you have to learn to look at yourself in a better light because the ideas that you have and the love that you pour into your business, it's for you, right? There's a self gratification in your business when you learn something and you're going to higher levels, higher levels, higher levels, higher levels. That's for you. That's your own self gratification. So, in a sense, it's like self care. And in order to get this self gratification, you have to fail. And so, I don't want you to look at failure as something like a setback. Failure will never be a setback, it will always be a step up. Because now you know what to do, you know what not to do. Now you know how to do it, who to connect with, who not to connect with, what pieces of the puzzle that you need to put together to make this dream of being a business owner work. That's what winning is. So get out of the thought of, oh, if I lose money or I lose clients or I lose my business, then that's a failure. No, it's not. Now you know what to do. And some of us are so afraid of learning the lessons that we need in our business that we keep pushing them away, right? How many ebooks have you bought? How many classes have you um that have you purchased that you never sat in or you never watched or you never read? So you have to start pouring into yourself outside of failure, because failure doesn't exist. It's not real. It's like I talk about fear. Fear isn't real. Fear is something that you conjured up in your head of the unknown. When I was standing in that dark, in that pitch black dark, what scared me was the unknown. There was nothing there but trees and grass. And I was petrified of what? Of nothing. What was conjured up in my own head. So you guys need to get up and have a new mindset of the day. It's kind of late today. It's my clock is fast. It's like 1:20. It's like 1:20, but you guys, you really have to do some mindset work in the morning when you get up. I talk about this all the time. Get up before anybody else. Take that mental time to take it in. Today, I'm going to take on the challenges of life. I'm going to fail somewhere. The quicker you fail, the quicker you grow. Get the failures out of the way. Grow your business. Make more money. Be more happy. Stop looking at failure as a bad thing. I want you to ask yourself, what's so scary about failure? That is a very important question to ask yourself. What is so scary about failure? What about failure scares you? Like literally scares you? Because looking stupid or looking feeling inadequate, that's not scary. So why are you letting fear create this hesitation in your business winnings? What's so scary about failure?